Hello, everybody out there in Hammer TV land. How y'all doing today? I'm Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
And I'm Bill Adler, the Texas Hammer.
Hey, Bill, tell the audience a little bit about how motorcycle claims are different from normal vehicle claims.
Well, in motorcycle claims, when you mention a claim, you're talking about how you move forward with the insurance company. And what I find in motorcycle claims is oftentimes the defendant driver who impacts a motorcycle, they don't have sufficient coverage because ultimately, as I'm sure you've seen, a lot of the people in motorcycle accidents, they get horribly injured, more so than an individual in a normal vehicle. So talk about why a person on a motorcycle would be much more injured than an individual in a car or truck.
Well, isn't it just the saddest thing that someone will have $100,000 or $200,000 in injuries, medical bills, hospital bills, surgeries, what have you, and there's $30,000 lousy dollars in insurance coverage.
Sure.
And the problem is that you have no protection on a motorcycle. Hopefully, people will wear their motorcycle helmets. I understand the freedom argument about I want to have the freedom not to wear my helmet and feel the wind in my face.
Sure.
And it makes sense from a liberty standpoint. But what's your advice about wearing helmets, and why are motorcycles more dangerous than cars?
Well, look, you made the liberty argument. I think you're right to choose to wear a helmet or not wear a helmet.
Yeah.
If you feel freer not wearing a helmet, just be aware that you're probably going to have life-altering injuries if you don't wear a helmet. Even if you are wearing a helmet, the significance of these crashes that I see, they're life-altering. It doesn't matter if you have a helmet on or not a lot of the times, but it does certainly protect a lot of people who wear a helmet from having worse injuries than they already would sustain.
That's right. I've seen so many cases with cracked helmets. It's just, the helmet probably saved their lives,
Right, yep.
but they still get injured.
That's for sure.
There's, like, what I see a lot is there's no protection of a person's legs. So a person's leg will get really badly broken. I remember a long time ago, a young man came to me and so sad he had lost his leg. He was 24 years old. He had lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. And I'm just almost crying. What's his life, the rest of his life, going to be like?
Right. Yeah, I can't even imagine losing your leg, much less. The thing is, a lot of these people, you mentioned leg injuries, they have a rod in their leg for the rest of their life. They have pins and plates and things like that. They're just nasty, nasty injuries when you get involved in a motorcycle type accident because the injuries are just so life-altering.
Whereas when you're in an automobile is designed to be like a protective cocoon around you. It's like it surrounds you with heavy metal, and it's protecting all your bodily parts from your head to your toe. When you're in a motorcycle, when you're riding a motorcycle, you're just out there, and you just hope that people can see you on the road. So, Bill, let's talk about our next topic, which is, what is the most common cause of motorcycle accidents?
Well, the most common cause of motorcycle accidents are left-hand turns. Essentially, left-hand turns account for 42% of accidents involving motorcycles in a car. Often, there's visibility issues for the car that's at fault. They just really can't see you. And also, in motorcycle accidents, there's road hazards. For instance, huge potholes on the road, slick roads, individuals who ultimately leave parts in the middle of the road where you got to swerve trying to avoid them. You're trying to sometimes
gravel.
Yeah, gravel, loose gravel.
Around in gravel.
Absolutely, loose gravel. I've seen that a lot where you just lose control of your bike. There's also, I don't know if you've seen this when you're driving down the road and it's an individual splitting the lane. That's just extraordinarily dangerous.
Come on.
Yeah. And a lot of the time you see that alcohol's involved or drug use is involved or someone's really just speeding at the time. Why
do people split the lane? Are they in a hurry to get home?
I think they're just trying to get home quickly, but it's just not a great idea. I've seen so many people who are badly injured in these accidents. And the one thing I do want to talk about is most motorcycle riders, they're safe. They're wearing the proper equipment. They're safe drivers. They're ultimately operating their bike in a good fashion.
Got a leather jacket or strong protective gear on.
Right, and they have the gear on, they're good riders, and then some idiot pulls out in front of him and just does the wrong thing when, the rider's not in the wrong. He's doing everything right, and a lot of times motorcycle riders get a bad name. A lot of them, and most of them, are good riders. They're not doing the wrong thing.
Well, let me ask you this. Why can't people see motorcycles?
Well, just think about it like this. They're about 1/10 the size of a car.
Yeah.
And sometimes, they're in a blind spot. They're doing everything right, but they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And ultimately,
people
they get hit.
looking, or they're texting, or they're not paying attention, or they got their radio cranked up too loud. And next thing you see, I call it a motorcycle left turn. That motorcycle makes a left turn, and the car doesn't even see the motorcycle left turn.
I've seen that.
And it's just like cars have a blind spot for motorcycles. It's just crazy.
Well, in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, you got to think about people, what they're doing. They're trying to get to and from work. They're not really paying attention a lot of the time. And if you're just that unfortunate rider who's doing the right thing but at the wrong place, you're going to get hit. And so ultimately in these cities where there's a high amount of traffic, people are riding motorcycles, and every day they're sustaining really bad injuries, and it's just horrible.
I understand why people look at motorcycles as a way to save on gasoline. So they're trying to be economical, and a motorcycle will get a lot more mileage than a car. But do you think it's worth it to save money on gasoline versus the risk of an injury?
Well,
I guess everything's a trade-off in life.
Yeah, you got to look at it on the point of, how it makes you feel. If you want to ride a motorcycle into work and you want to just feel free, you want to save gas, that's your thing. And that's what you want to do, and that's fine with me. But just be aware that ultimately you're really putting yourself at risk, especially if you're riding during peak traffic hours that people aren't paying attention.
What if you get a bunch of bugs in your teeth? The bugs are hitting you in the face.
Get a face guard.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's that?
That's one of those guards on the front of your bike.
Oh, yeah.
A wind guard.
Like a windshield.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep those bugs out of your teeth.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Absolutely not.
So let's talk about negligence and the other parties at fault. What's that all about, and how do you determine if someone's negligent? Because they're just going to say that people always blame the motorcycle rider.
Yeah, it's just.
How do you beat that rap?
Well, ultimately, you got to be truthful and honest, and the person who's truthful and honest wins the bout. And ultimately, you mentioned negligence. Negligence is a term that a lot of people ask me about, and ultimately, I know you know what negligence is, and it's failure to act as a reasonable person in that type of situation. And so, if you have questions about negligence, we can answer those questions. I'm sure you can answer those questions. Have answered those questions 1,000, maybe even 1,000,000 times.
We're going to represent that motorcycle rider, no matter what the facts are. If someone's badly injured, an attorney has to have his client's back. So we're going to work hard to help motorcycle riders who get injured.
Absolutely.
Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
We're going to prove that fault regardless. Well, Bill, what are the motorcycle laws in Texas? I want to know, because I forget sometimes. There's so much. We're expert attorneys and we practice personal injury law. There's so many Texas laws. Tell us about that.
Well, so you mentioned motorcycle laws. A lot of the time people have questions about whether you have to wear a helmet or whether you don't have to wear a helmet. If you're 21 years or older, you do not have to wear a helmet in Texas. It's not required. However, you have to complete approved courses on motorcycle operation and training courses.
All right, Bill, go ahead and tell the motorcycle riders out there how we can help them.
Well, we can help them because we have a lot of experience in this area. I know I've handled personally hundreds and hundreds of motorcycle claims. You've probably handled thousands of motorcycle claims. So that's how we can help people with our amount of knowledge that we've gained throughout handling all these claims. So if you've been involved in a motorcycle accident, the number to call is 800-567-7575, or contact us on the web at www.jimadler.com. I appreciate everybody watching, and stay safe on your bike when you're riding around town if that's what you choose to do, because that's your right. Leave us some of your comments, your questions. Tell your friends what type of topics you'd like for us to cover on other shows. We'd really love to hear from you. This is Jim and Bill Adler signing off today. The Texas Hammers. Call us if you need us.
And keep watching Hammer TV, y'all. We appreciate it.